man. But there were times I had to get him man-to-man. And
favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
Likes the games like we play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks. When they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did. So I got 3 sacks on them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
All right, what is up, everyone? We're live in the JBW studios tonight. We are down a man. Cody, hope everything's well. We will see you on here next week. Boys, let's do a roll call real quick. Matt?
I'm Matt, representing the Broncos.
Boo. All right. I am Austin, representing Chiefs Kingdom, baby.
All right, and I'm Corey. I will be hosting and running this show tonight for you. We have a special guest tonight, guys. We're going to be joined here in a minute by Kawika Mitchell. He was nominated twice for the Buckus Award his junior and senior seasons at South Florida, as well as he's the Super Bowl champion, so I'm really excited to talk to him about that. And then he was the second-round draft pick by the Chiefs in 2003. But the main reason we have him on here tonight is obviously it's Raiders week. So without further ado, let's welcome into the JBW Solutions studio, Mr. Kawika Mitchell.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, we're excited to have you. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I know he's super excited about this because he's been talking shit on the Raiders for the last probably
33 years.
Yeah, and I know he was super excited when you were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's come on during Raiders week. Let's talk Raiders week. So first, we're going to start with your time at South Florida real quick, and then we'll get into the Chiefs Raiders rivalry stuff. So I noticed, and I don't know, it says you went to Georgia at first, but we obviously remember you at South Florida. What was about South Florida that kind of drew you in?
To be honest, at the time, it really was the fact that they were 1AA, and I was trying to leave Georgia, and I didn't have to sit out a year. Because, times were a little bit different back then. If they were 1A, I would have to sit out a year. So Florida was an option, but I had just came off a red shirt, and I really didn't want to do it again. And South Florida kind of fit everything I wanted. I wanted to be back close to home. So it was a tough move, but I think it worked out at the end.
Yeah, and now your son is following in your footsteps. He's at South Florida now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he recently graduated. But it was cool to have legacy there and have him there. I mean, when I got drafted to the Chiefs, he was on TV pretty much the same night. So it's pretty cool, his history and everything tied to South Florida.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, so the one thing we like to ask, who are some of the toughest players you remember going up against at the college level that, kind of helped you prepare for the NFL or make you realize the NFL was like truly a possibility?
South Florida's competition was a little different. We did play against like Oklahoma, I think would be the defining moment for me. Griffin was the running back. I can't remember his first name right now. And then Nate Hibble was the quarterback, and Nate was at Georgia with me at the time. And then they had some solid receivers. I know their linebackers, Lehman, and I think Mitchell was one of their linebackers. So going up to Oklahoma and playing against them, and actually probably the better example is Arkansas. Then Sean Andrews was the tight end, or not tight end, but tackle. And then, what was his name? The tight end, he ended up being a tackle for a long time in the league. I played with him at Buffalo. But he was a 300-pound tight end, and then you had Sean Andrews as a tackle, and they pretty much took my whole defensive line and washed them away, and I just had to stand right there and let the running back come right to me. But I think it was moments like that that kind of let me realize there was levels to this game.
Right.
Yeah. Was there any teammate at South Florida that you kind of got attached to, like you leaned on and kind of like used as a mentor or role model?
Yeah, I think Anthony Henry. He was one of our early draft picks. I think Bill Gramatica, and just knowing that his brother Martine going in the league, I think they were somewhat of a role model. Martin was around, and his family were, they're really big into creating those type of players, NFL type players, and they're still doing it with their kids, going to South Florida right now. So I think people like that. I think Leroy Selman was a great example for me. He was our athletic director at the time, and he was available, and he was a great man and somebody that was willing to kind of take everybody under his wing. So I think he was probably the biggest influence.
Yeah, right on. So we're gonna kind of get a transition question into your pro career, but so walk us through your draft day experience and what it was like getting a call from the Chiefs or waiting for that call and everything. Like, walk us through that experience and that moment for you.
Oh man, I hate to kill your dreams, man, on this one, but so I had my son right on Friday. No, I had him on Wednesday. We brought him home from the hospital on Friday, and then we had to take him to the doctor on Saturday. I got drafted Saturday afternoon, so it's kind of a funny story, kind of how it went. I was hungry, I got a newborn kid at the house. I got my wife who just gave birth, and my vision was to be sitting on the couch with my son and looking at the draft, watching my highlights, and then boom, you get drafted. But I was hungry. I was hungry, to be honest, and I went out and got some sushi, and I was in the Wendy's drive-thru with my sister, and I got a phone call, and to be completely honest, I didn't know everybody's name that was on the call. I knew Dick Vermeil, but Carl Peterson, I really wasn't aware of him, and Greg Robinson at the time, D coordinator. They all got on the phone, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to take you in the second round." It just worked out that way. I was like, "Okay, great." I was excited, but I'm not really like super emotional.
Right.
On the field I was, but like just in life, I'm kind of, even kill pretty much all the time. And so they drafted me, and then I got off the phone. My sister was like, "What was that? What happened?" And I was like, "The Chiefs just took me in the second round." And she was like, "What?" So it's kind of yeah, I was like, "Yeah, it just happened." And she was like, "Tell us what happened, blah, blah, blah." And that was pretty much it. I went home and I saw, some of the highlights, and the news came by and interviewed me and my son at the time, Levi, and that's pretty much what happened, man. 2 weeks later, I moved to Kansas City.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Funny thing is, we had Coach Vermeil on Friday. He was on here. He's been on here a couple of times, and so walk us through what it was like playing for Coach Vermeil. I mean, we've had Eric Warfield, Sylvester Morris, Derek Blaylock on here. They've all just raved about Coach Vermeil and the coach he was. So what was your side of the story on this one?
One of the most loyal and greatest men that I've ever really worked with. And I would find it hard to believe that anybody, unless you're a kicker, he wasn't a big fan of kickers, that would have something bad to say about him. But even those guys couldn't say too much. But just a guy that really, especially with me, we had a good relationship, and he really believed in me. Him and his wife Carol, they just showed so much love, so much love to my family. They always had their family around. It was just an example that they set for everybody. When he cried, it was always something that somebody did that was positive. It was never about being sad or anything like that. He just had so much joy about other people, and he knew the game. Obviously, he knew how to run the game. He knew how to manage coaches, knew how to manage players, and I just got the utmost respect for him.
So, all his other players that we've had with us, like Sylvester Morris said, like he used to invite each position over to his house and they would have dinner. And Sylvester, we asked him what his favorite meal was that coach would prepare. So what was your favorite meal?
I mean, I think he always had a tenderloin and some potatoes, and it was always a bunch of wine on the table, and it was just the whole deal. I got a picture of him holding Levi, my oldest son, and just like I said, bringing the family in and treating us like family, man. And it could have been a hamburger from McDonald's, wouldn't have mattered, but they showed a lot of love. So
absolutely.
Yeah. It's awesome to kind of hear that about Coach Vermeil. Like we can see that, from a distance, but hearing how all the players had the love for him, and even having him on here, like you can just see what kind of stand-up man he was, but you can still also tell like he still knows football, like
Oh yeah.
to his core. So like it's awesome to hear that. But like my brother said, we've had some of the former players on here, so we're curious on what it was like to practice and play against some of those guys, and like going up against Trent Green and Priest Holmes, Tony Gonzalez, all those guys. Like, what was that like, and what did that do for you and the defense at the time?
Oh man, it was a great experience. I think people like Will Shields, especially the offensive line, Will Shields, Willie Roaf. I remember 2 situations. One time, Will Shields was on a run play, was run blocking me, and not even really trying to overpower me. He just had position, and he was just laughing like the whole time, just running right next to me, keeping me away from the running back, and I just was. In my mind, I'm like, man, what is wrong with this guy? Like, and at the same time, I'm like, I can't do my job because he's keeping me from doing it. And then Willie Roaf, same type of thing, coming off of the edge, and a young linebacker, not really polished at pass rushing, especially off the edge. And Willie was just like, come here, boy, come here, and like laughing, same thing, laughing and talking to me, and just the level of play, their knowledge of the game and anticipation, and Priest Holmes and Tony Gonzalez and all these Hall of Famers, and they showed it, they showed it on and off the field. So you can't forget about Brian Waters and just his, his strength. And it was tough, man. It was tough, but it made us better for sure. It made me better.
Yep. Absolutely. Transitioning over to, it's Raiders week for the Chiefs. We understand that you are not a fan of the Raiders at all.
Yeah.
So, and you came in there at a time where, that Chiefs-Raiders rivalry was a very heated rivalry. So what was it like getting ready for Raiders week for you?
It was amazing. I grew up a Raider fan, actually. My whole family were Raider fans. I like the Chiefs, but up until that moment, I was a Raider fan, and it was my older brothers are Raider fans. They still are, so I think that kind of made it sweeter for me. The fact that we never lost to the Raiders while I was there. I still got friends that are Raider fans now that I talk trash to. I hold that over their head, but I also grew up a Notre Dame fan, so like the Raiders, to me, that my first start was against the Raiders on the Monday night game, and I was, that was my aha moment where I was chasing Tim Brown, and I could see the back of his jersey, so it wasn't too good, but it said T Brown on it, and I think I literally said it out loud. I was like, man, that's Tim Brown, and so it was special, man. And, the running backs that they had, and Gannon and Jerry Rice and all these people, man. And if you're playing at the Raiders, the fans are
yeah.
cussing you out. You got grandmothers cussing you out. You got kids cussing you out. It's the opposite of Green Bay. And so it was a great experience, man. It was always fun.
Yeah, love that.
So I'm going to ask real quick because I'm not the Chiefs fan, but I know you won a Super Bowl with the Giants. And before we get it, I was rooting for the Giants in the Super Bowl, by the way.
Absolutely.
You guys were going up against an undefeated team, obviously. No one was that's all everyone was talking about. It was Patriots this, Patriots this, Patriots this. What was your guys' mindset as a team going into the Super Bowl, knowing that no one was really talking about you guys?
Oh, we loved it. We absolutely loved it. When we fed off of it. I think just the leadership and the defensive mindset that we had, and we knew what we were building towards the whole season. Spagnuolo, the D coordinator, knew what we were building towards, and our defense evolved. Our offense was, able to run the ball. We had the weapons that we needed, and the guys in place with Plexico and Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw and Derek Ward even, and Eli, of course. So we had all the weapons, but really we knew defensively it was going to be on us, and we really loved everybody talking about everybody else but us. So we knew we had to get the time. That was our game plan. and we felt very comfortable going to the game that we would be able to do that.
So I saw Brandon Jacobs. They had him on the primetime game when it was in New York, and honestly, the dude looked like he could still go out and run for 200 yards and just run people over. So
Yeah.
he was getting the crowd hyped up, and I believe they ended up actually winning that game too. So I was always curious about that because obviously everyone's chasing the undefeated season. They were one game away, and you guys actually got a chance to just shit all over their parade on that one. So congrats on being a Super Bowl champion, man.
Yeah.
I know
Absolutely.
it's easy for us to sit here and talk Super Bowl this and this and watch our teams win Super Bowls, but to actually be able to live it and play in one, that's like the highest of honors. So congratulations to you on that.
And I also want to thank you for winning that Super Bowl because my
Yes.
mom and my sister, my mom and my sister are Patriots fans. So like that week was just, we're gonna win, undefeated season, and I had to hear it. And so for you guys to go in there, I also want to personally thank you for ending that season and saving me from a lifetime of despair. So appreciate it. You actually did have a good game too. It's funny you mentioned getting to Tom Brady because you had 8 tackles and you sacked Tom Brady. And it's I think that was everyone's goal back in that time was sack Tom Brady, and you were one of the ones to do it.
Oh yeah, no, it was pretty awesome. I think we ended up hitting him like 28 times, which there's a lot of good pictures of it. So it was awesome, man.
I was gonna to go off of that just because as a Chiefs fan, I get to see Spags and his mad scientist of a defense, especially in big games. So I'm curious on what it was like to play, for him, and was he always kind of that mad scientist and just that big game coach for you guys, and like what was it like playing for him?
Spags was and is awesome, man. It's just the way he built the defense. He was really about the foundation. He really preached that, and we built on the foundation as the year went on, continuing to add things and, like I said, evolve as a defense. And you guys mentioned the sack, and on that play, 100% of the time when I lined up in the close to the offensive line, I dropped out for pass coverage. So 100% of the time, and we saved it for that play. And he's like, listen, this is the play. We're going to fake it. They're definitely going to bite. They're not going to realize what's happening. And then you're going to blitz. So all year long, we've been talking about this all year long. And then of course in the Super Bowl, I get the opportunity to do it. And it worked just like he said it would, because Tom Brady and those guys, offensive line, they watch film and they're those guys were good because for a reason, and they knew what things to anticipate, and they knew tendencies and things like that. So that's just an example of Spags and kind of what he's capable of.
Man, I love that. Like,
Yeah.
we don't think about the long-term play like that when we see it, right? We just go game by game as fans and just be like, how is he always just cooking it up at the right time, at the right moments? And so it's kind of cool to get that point of view. And it got you a Super Bowl sack. So like, awesome.
I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get back into the Chiefs Raiders a little bit. Kind of curious on if there's any Chiefs Raiders, either wild moments or trash talking moments that you'd be willing to share. Like, we know some may not be okay to share, but if there is a couple, 1 or 2, we'd love to hear them if possible.
Now there's some good ones. Like I said, playing at the Raiders was always entertaining. There was definitely a game. I think it had to be my 3rd year. We're up, getting ready for the game, pregame, and we're just there. And the coaches, everybody who works for the Raiders kind of embraces that culture, and I think it's kind of hard not to. Wearing the black and silver, and it's just what you do. And he was talking trash to us, and I literally almost got in a fight with him before the game, and I had to be held back, and it was just one of those. I think he was like the strength coach or something, and nothing would have happened to him. I mean, he would have gotten in trouble from his team, but I would have been kicked out of the game, and it would have been worse for us. So there's moments like that. There's fans out at pregame that were always trying to cuss you out and talking all kind of shit and just being rowdy, like I said, grandmothers and kids flicking you off and just the normal Raider type stuff, and why I grew up a Raider fan, because I really like that kind of stuff. So the stories like that are endless. And it's just a culture, like I said, the opposite of Green Bay, complete opposite.
No Lambeau leaps in the black hole.
No, don't do that. No, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, that's kind of why, like, how we thought about this show way back when we started is we kind of miss those rivalries, right? Like, they don't quite feel the same today as they used to, which probably for obvious, like, safety reasons and like sportsmanship and all that. I mean, you can kind of wrap your head around why, but we miss it. Like, Raiders week, there is still a Raiders week, but it's a little different vibe to it. So being able to hear things like this and like the good old days of the rivalry, like we love hearing that, and kind of cracks me up when you're talking about grandmas cussing you out and kids flipping you off. And it's like, yeah, that's what I would remember. Like, yeah, that sounds right.
It was great. It's football, man. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any good, rivalry stories? Corey and I are the Broncos fans, kind of shifting a little bit. Any good rivalries with the Broncos? Any good matchups there that you remember?
I hated the Broncos, man. I probably hated them more than anybody.
Hey, there we go. There we go.
I think there's a reason for it. That's the team. San Diego, you never knew what you were going to get when you played the Chargers, but when you played the Broncos, you knew they were going to be a pain in the ass. You knew Shanahan was going to dial it up. Plummer or whoever the hell they had at quarterback, they were going to run their zones and they were going to run the boots off of the zones, and it was always going to be hard, man. And I think that's why. And then going to Mile High and the whole elevation and all that kind of stuff, just everything that comes along with it, I think it's just always a really hard game. And those guys always made it really hard. The offensive linemen, man, I hated those offensive linemen because they were like. They were the smaller ones, right? Because they with the boot and zone and all that kind of stuff, and they were a pain. They were a pain in the ass. Like, it was hard to get away from them, and they were really good at what they did. And they ran a pretty, I don't want to say simple. Nothing's really simple in the NFL, but the concept was pretty. They could repeat things and make a lot of things look the same, and it was hard, man. But Brandon Marshall went to my high school, so I had some history with him. Clinton Portis ran all over us one time, and that was extremely frustrating. So Al Wilson was a guy that I looked up to. Trevor Price was older guy that went to my high school as well. So there's definitely a lot of history as far as the Broncos and that connection.
Yeah, I think I was glad to see Clinton Portis traded. I know you then followed him to his division, but it's like you wanted to chase him down. But I know exactly what game you were talking about. I think he mentions it once a year. To me about that game. So we know what game that was.
That game sucks.
Yeah. And Coach Vermeil actually even talked about playing in Mile High, and he said that he could never win there. Yep. He said even when you guys were like leading at halftime or something, the Broncos were just so hard to prep against in Denver. So that kind of matches up with what Coach was talking about the other night. And he was also talking about Mike Shanahan and what it was like to game plan against those guys and whatnot. And I mean, they did have the offense there, and it was fun to watch. And it's why I love the Broncos and how they were able to run with any running back that they would put back there. So, there were still good Chiefs Broncos games. And then there was also those ones that were like 6-3 because the offense just couldn't move the ball and the defense were just on point for those. So I do want to, you played for Tom Coughlin as well, another respected coach that Coach Vermeil's also talked about a lot. Coach Vermeil also was baffled at how he's not in the Hall of Fame yet as well. Getting a chance to play for those two guys along with having Spags, how did that shape you into the player that you became?
I think obviously Dick Vermeil set the foundation for me. He was the one that introduced the NFL to me and my family, even his wife, telling my wife, who was 23 years old with the kid, and don't count on Christmas, don't count on Thanksgiving. These guys are committed to the game, and and that type of stuff. And Dick Vermeil, man, his practices were hard and they were long, and they demanded a lot out of us. So he set the foundation, and then Coughlin's like right down. He's my type of guy. He's the way he runs the game, the way he runs the team. He's a general. He was a general, and he had a lot of expectations, but he was very clear about those. He held everybody accountable, and I think that accountability is what helped us win the Super Bowl. So I think just in general, those guys and guys like Spags and the way they love the game and how much work they put into it. I think that's what represents the NFL. Like, people talk about, how hard it is, and it's hard. If you want to be a coach, you're there. You sleep there. Your family realizes they're not going to see you, and it takes a lot of work, man. It takes a lot of commitment, and those guys really, I think, are the best examples of that. Some of the best examples, for sure.
When you watch the Chiefs defense now, do you see a lot of the similar stuff that, you're like, oh, hey, I know exactly what they're trying to do here?
Yeah, I definitely do. I try to pick up on, I even see some of the same signals. I know he's kind of changed things up a little bit, but I would imagine a lot of it is pretty much the same, and somewhat the same. They've gotten a little more fancy. The offense has changed a little bit, but one thing I think is important is Spags' defense is, what was so different about them is, like, we dictated what the offense was doing. A lot of times the offense dictates what the defense does, but we had our call, and depending on what the offense lined up in, we were going to run our call, and we were going to make this adjustment, but it was still going to be what we wanted to run. Of course, there's certain things we might have to come out of, but for the most part, we pretty much dictate what we want to do. So I think that's a part of why he's so successful, is we're able to run the things we're comfortable with and the things that we succeed in, and he continues to succeed in, even regardless of what the offense is running.
Yeah. I personally love it. I'm a defensive guy. I could sit and talk defense for 24 hours a day my whole life. I'm not the one who wants these high flying offenses flying all over the field. Like, I want to see that defensive. I don't want to see a bad offensive game. That's not good defense. But you give me an actual good defensive game, and I would love it. And that's why I like Spags, especially in big games. Like, I don't know, it's him and the players. They reach another gear in those big games, and I don't know what Spags wants to do. I don't know if he wants to become a head coach, but as a fan, I hope he stays D coordinator for Chiefs and Andy for as long as possible, because it's a great marriage with those two and our defense. So I know everyone talks about Patrick and the offense, but Spags and our defense, let's not overlook them. All right. Like, they've won our championships for us for the most part.
I agree 100%. It all works together for sure.
Absolutely. So, kind of a fun question. We've obviously had Sylvester Morris and Eric Warfield on, and they're friends of the War Room now, and we chat with them often. But you have any good stories or kind of dirt to share on our friends from the playing days?
On those guys specifically, or just anybody?
Yeah, those two specifically. Yeah.
Warfield is just was and continues just to be a guy, man. He connects everybody. He still does it to this day. We have a group text message going along with Sean Barber and Scott Fujita, Jason Dunn, Eric Kennison, Sammy Knight, Pat Surtain. He's just that guy that brings everybody together. I don't really remember him being too crazy, so I don't have too much. Sylvester was pretty much the same way. He was just kind of a cool, calm, even kill type guy.
Yep.
And he's probably the exact same way. So, I think they were just good examples of vets, especially Eric back then. He kind of a pretty boy. I'm not going to lie about that. It's just kind of he's the corner, but some corners are a little bit different. Pat Surtain wasn't so much like Eric. Eric was a little more, flamboyant is not the word. That kind of sounds funny, but he's just kind of a pretty boy, but good guys though. Good. I wish I had more for you, man, but they didn't really, they didn't give me much to work on.
No,
Was there any locker room pranks that you used to do with each other?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they got plenty of stuff they can tell on me. I got a text from Greg Wesley the other day, actually just like 2 days ago, in that group text, and he's like, man, I didn't forget when you put icy hot in my jockstrap, and I was like, man, that was. I was like, that wasn't me. That was Scott Fujita, and Scott chimed in, and there's
That's
a story that I broke into Scott's house and trying to steal his ice cream, and the alarm went off. And there's all kind of silly, I mean, we're 20-something-year-old guys, 30, and some people making good money, having fun, not really growing up. So the stories are pretty much endless.
That's
Well, when you guys spend as much time together as you guys were spending together, obviously with football, I mean, it was probably nice to kind of step away for a little bit and just remember that you guys are human, and you guys were young and like to have fun.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look at guys like Jared Allen, and there's a lot of characters out there, man, and even the ones that you probably didn't think were characters, they are, and I think that's football too. Just being in that environment.
Yeah. Matt, you can go ahead and start with our lightning round. These are just some fun, just kind of loose questions, and we can knock those out.
Yeah, so my first question for the lightning round is: are there any current linebackers in the NFL that you just enjoy watching?
Fred Warner.
Yep,
for sure.
Yeah.
Wagner. I don't know how he's still doing it at the level he's doing it. I think just that alone amazes me.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch much of the game Monday night, as I had a little work obligation. But when I put the game on, it was Bobby Wagner in the backfield, just flying through the gap, tackle for loss. So it's just like, well, here it is, like year 13 or 14. And he's still just out there, just probably still the top 5 linebacker in my opinion. Just
he doesn't age.
And then obviously Fred's there too. So we wish Fred the best as well with that injury that he occurred. And I mean, those things do happen, and we wish him a speedy recovery as well on that. So for me, Arrowhead's obviously, it's electric. I've been to plenty of games. I've been tailgating, done all that fun stuff. You were on the field at the loudest moments, because that's when the crowd was obviously, at their loudest. So 1, how are you able to concentrate? And 2, did that just keep you hyped the whole time?
Oh man, it's the best thing in the world, man. It's one of those things, when you stop playing, that's what you miss. And Arrowhead is definitely one of the best, as far as it. I try to tell people, like, it's shaking and so loud in there, like it looked like a time machine. Like when you look around, and then when you make a big hit, and then all of a sudden it just goes silent, and and then all of a sudden it erupts. It's just, that's one of the best things in the world to experience.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I got one more for you. And, so at the tail end of your career, you end up in New Orleans, and you're under Sean Payton's regime. You have Drew Brees there, Tracy Porter. They're coming off the Super Bowl. He was kind of the hero, picks off Payton. What was the culture like when you got to New Orleans and they just won the Super Bowl? What was it like with Sean Payton and Drew Brees there?
It was pretty awesome, man. Those guys and the relationship they had. I will say there was Tom Coughlin, and then there was Sean Payton, and they were like two very bright-minded, football-minded guys, but very, very different. Like, I would sit in the team meeting, and then Sean would come in 10 minutes later, and I'm like what's going on here? Like, where Coughlin, everything was set 5 minutes back. Like, there's Coughlin time. Like, if you're 5 minutes early, then you're right on time. If you're later than that, you're late. So it was different culture-wise, but Drew was just to watch him at work. Then Jonathan Vilma on the defense, and some of those guys, and it was a great atmosphere. And then, of course, that was the year we lost to Seattle, and there was the Beastquake that I had to I had to experience that damn run. I wasn't on the field. It would have been different if I was, but at least that's what I tell myself. But it was great. It was 6 weeks of my life that I got to experience with a great group of guys, and Joe Vitt, who was responsible for drafting me in Kansas City, was the linebacker coach. So I got to be with him a second time.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we like to ask one final question to all the former players who join, just to hear what they say. But so when people hear the name Kawika Mitchell, what do you hope or want them to remember you for?
Man, that's a great question. I don't know. First thing that comes to mind is a wild animal, kind of angry. I've been called angry. I think there were certain articles and stuff like that that just said I looked angry. I always look angry. My resting face looks like you know what they say, bitch face, a resting asshole face, whatever you want to call it. But I look mad when I'm perfectly okay. So, but I just love the game, man, and I like being intense when I played it. So hopefully that showed on the field.
Oh yeah, it absolutely
It
did.
did. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, not to age anybody here, but you know, some of those Chiefs teams were some of my first memories of watching football. And I told Coach Vermeil and everything, like him as a Chiefs coach, and then you know, like Priest Holmes, and then you know, players like yourself and other like those are the reasons I fell in love with football and the Chiefs. And I have to imagine you're part of that defense, the reason that I enjoy defense more than any other part of the game. So, you know, we appreciate you giving us your time, talking a little bit of Raider shit. That's what we always like to hear any time of the year, but especially during Raider week. And we'd like to get to know you as a player and a person. So we appreciate you taking the time to do that for us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
And then one last question, and then we'll let you go. How bad are the Chiefs going to beat the Raiders this weekend?
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. I think the Chiefs, the Raiders are trying to make a turn, but you can see what the Chiefs are starting to do. They're starting to come in form. So it'll be, let's say, 28-13, which in NFL, you know, that's ugly to me. And that's good for a Raiders-Chiefs game. So Chiefs win.
Yeah, you say ugly. I heard beautiful right there. That was music to my ears.
Same thing. It's the same thing. It's football.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, we'd love to have you back on at some point and again, chop it up with you again. We love talking football. So thank you for giving us 40 minutes of your time and good luck with what you're on and what you're doing. So if there's anything else, we'll let you get out of here.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it, guys.
Oh, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Perfect. All right, guys.
That was awesome.
Kawika Mitchell, former Chief, former Giant, Super Bowl champ. Yeah, dude, that was great. It's also fun just to hear the player side of it, right? Like, you know, yes, there were pranks. No, they weren't, you know, anything too wild. They have the group text, which obviously Coach Vermeil, that's his favorite thing to let us know is his group text with the players as well as former players. So, yeah. Anything stick out, Matt, to you throughout that conversation? I think that Sean Payton bit there at the end was solid.
Yeah, you know, just how much respect he had for, you know, not so much his teammates, but for, you know, his opponents as well. Just overall respectful guy. You know, like he said, like a resting asshole face, but like you can tell, like he never disrespected anyone. You know, he always gave everyone their credit where credit was due. He respected everyone. He was, you know, I guess you can say he's like a sponge. He soaked up what he could from them. He leaned on them. And I mean, all in all, you know, when we were making the player profile for him, every defense he was on, he was always kind of like a keystone for their defense. Yep. And it just kind of shows like how he was on the field, off the field, inside the locker room. You know, his character speaks volumes.
And then just looking at, you know, obviously we had Blaine Bishop on not too long ago, who was on the opposite end of the Super Bowls, right? Like so close. Whereas this guy, Kawika Mitchell, plays in a Super Bowl against an undefeated team that literally no one was giving a chance to win this game. And that defense absolutely destroyed Tom Brady. And I just look back on what that defense was able to do and who they had on that defense with him. I think the stat that stood out was how many times they actually hit Tom Brady that game that he was talking about. And
Yeah.
Again, that's one less ring that we get to see Tom Brady have.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, and again, not only that, like that was a record-setting season for the Patriots. I think him and Tom Brady and Randy Moss, they set a record for touchdown, touchdown passes, touchdown receptions, and they were just, and it was like, is anyone going to stop the Patriots? And the unsung heroes, the least likely team that everyone thought was going to do it. Everyone thought it was going to be Green Bay and New England going at it, Brett Favre, Tom Brady, and ended up being a wild card team, the Giants, going in there, and they just destroyed them. And he was a huge piece in that. He played a huge role in that. 8 tackles and a sack. And my hat keeps falling, but so I'll just put it back on. It's distracting the shit out of me. But I mean, yeah, he had a sack. He had 8 tackles. I mean, that's huge. So I mean, it wasn't like he was just some player that came in on third down. He was an all-around player.
Yeah, so we're live here at the JBW Solutions Studio. We had Kawika Mitchell, who was joined us for the first about 40 minutes of the episode. Started as a Raiders fan. Wild enough. Cody, I did see the comment from Cody on there. So I guess it started out kind of cool as far as, hey, I was a Raiders fan, and then not anymore. Once they got that call, once I came to the Chiefs, no more. So I think, again, another former player, Coach Vermeil, who had nothing but good things to say as far as, his practices were tough. You look at Coach Vermeil and you're sitting there thinking, just the type of coach he is, you're like, you wouldn't think that. But then you hear his practices were long, they were tough, they were hard. And then you're like, well, that makes sense of why he was such a successful coach. And again, why literally every single one of his players that we've had on have had nothing but good things to say. And I'm starting to feel a little jealous that we haven't had a Coach Vermeil steak.
Yeah, right. Might have to reach out to Coach about this. Be like, Coach, where's our steak and potatoes and Vermeil wine?
Where's our steak and wine? Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So,
but I think that's incredible just to think about. Like, at the NFL level, he was still, it was a family, and him and his wife still treated him as such. These are players, but if you're under Coach Vermeil or on Coach Vermeil's team, you were humans, you were family to them, and you were treated as such. And again, I think Corey was spot on. Like, I think that's what made Coach Vermeil so successful as a coach. Like, I'm going to hold you to the highest standard as a player, but when we're off the field or away, you are family. We are one, and I think that actually probably helps, right? The chemistry with the unit, the togetherness, and all of that. So I just love hearing all those stories. I love how all of them, it's always that steak and wine. Steak and wine.
It's one of my. Go ahead, Corey.
You go ahead. I was gonna
say, like, I also go speak volumes about how Coach Vermeil was, and we say it kind of like every show. Like, every player that has ever played for him had nothing but, like, he's such a family guy. He's such a humble guy. Kawika has a picture of him holding his newborn son, and like that's how much he cared for his players. And Sylvester Morris, like, I've never been in a hospital before, but Coach was the only coach I've ever had to come visit me. So, like, the relationship he had and the love he had for his players, like, I mean, that's awesome, and kind of shows why his players love him. They still respect him to this day. And, every player that has ever played for him, they always go back and mention Coach Dick Vermeil. So,
yeah, and always talk about how they stay in touch, right? Like, it didn't end once you were no longer a chief or you guys went your own ways. Like, to this day, they still just stay in touch, visit each other. Like, I don't know. I think that's super special. Wish he would have got a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Vermeil, the players too. But it's one of those, you kind of hear these things about a guy and you're like, I kind of wish, he had a lot of winning seasons for us, but kind of wish he could have got the big one for us.
And I just think back. So obviously he played for Dick Vermeil. Then he was talking about Coach Coughlin being, the general expectations were right there. Another coach who should be in the Hall of Fame. But we're not going to get into all that. But and then to play for Spags and to see, the story of every time I was in this spot, I'd always drop back, and then we saved this play for the Super Bowl where Spags told me it was going to work. This is the time that you're going. This time you're not dropping into coverage, you're going. They've seen it on tape. They're going to think you're dropping. They're going to bite on this. And then, boom, he gets the sack. So, and then to see Spags' defense now being very similar, and he can pick up some of the signals, obviously not all of them, but just seeing the similarities. Yeah, I mean, the dude got a chance to play not only with some great teammates, but just absolute legends of the coaching game, right? And then getting to practice against Trent Green, Priest Holmes, Tony Gonzalez, and Jason Dunn, all those guys that he was name dropping about being able to practice against to get them ready for the Raiders. Big fan that he hated the Broncos. Love hearing it. Those were the Broncos teams that he played against. So, sorry.
I just love that he mentioned the offensive line. I mean, Coach Vermeil always makes sure to mention that offensive line.
They were laughing at him.
Yeah, like that's a crazy story. Like they're just blocking me, laughing at me, running with me. Like, are you guys psycho? Like, what's going on? But I think that's all. Like, you kind of hear the same stuff from these former Chiefs players, right? Like all the same stuff about Coach Vermeil, all the same stuff about that offensive line. Like, I mean, we heard Coach Vermeil about that. We heard Coach Vermeil on both episodes about Brian Waters. Right, it's like specifically. So kind of to hear, different players and coach have kind of similar things to say on these players. I don't know. I think it's kind of awesome seeing it all kind of line up and be like, wow, these guys are even more dominant than what we thought, right? Like if everyone kind of thinks the same thing, it's kind of true, right? Like it's not just said to us for no reason. There was a reason, and all these guys are confirming it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we keep having former Chief players on here, but at the end of the day, if they want to continue to come on here and talk about Coach Vermeil and what it was like playing for Coach, I mean, we'll keep having former Chief players on here. So any Chief players that's watching and you want to come on here, let us know.
It's because they're the nicer players.
I do like that he talked about his son. Like, he went to South Florida, and it's nice to have legacy there. So that's kind of cool that to see that tradition kind of carried on.
Well, that's a pretty good football tradition at our school now.
Yeah.
They're
not bad at all. So, again, it was another great episode tonight. Again, we say it every time, but we're really, really fortunate that we're able to do this. Last night we had our weekly recap, and then kind of a preview into this weekend's games. And tonight we had another great guest. And again, guys, we're lucky at what we get to do.
It really is, man. And it's so nice to kind of see the human side of football. Cause you look at these guys and it's just they're just money hungry, this, that, and the third, whatever, negative things you hear about them. But then they come on the show and you hear their stories and their experiences and the love they had for their teammates and their coaches and kind of seeing them reminiscing it. That's what my favorite part about it is. It's not so much getting to talk to a Super Bowl champion or a Hall of Famer or anything like it. It's getting to see the human side of this.
Yeah. And again, that's why we do ask a lot of football questions, but then, we like to mix in other questions to go along with that. Not all of them are going to answer a prank question. I get it. We understand that. We're not trying to bait them into saying anything. Some are yes, Chris Hovan, absolutely not. Which, hey, all good. It's fun to see that side of those guys because growing up, you see these guys on the football field, as football players, but now it's there is a human element to this.
Yeah.
So.
We only see and hear what we see during a game or what the media tells us. Right. But we never would have known that Kawika was trying to break into teammates' houses for ice cream.
And the alarm goes off.
Yeah, we never would have known that.
Right, there was no Ring camera back then either. So
no.
So and those are the things that that was my favorite part when he's I was trying to break into Scott Fujita's house and take his ice cream, and I'm see, that's awesome. Something we never would have known, never would have heard anywhere, but being able to do this and the opportunity we're given to kind of ask questions and hear things like that, that is absolutely what makes what we're doing just incredibly special.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get Carl Pickens confirmed for next week?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Mm-hmm.
We're working on getting Carl Pickens though.
Yeah, he said he'd come back on. We just got to get a date.
Perfect. So, as of right now, I mean, it's football talk next week. As of right now, we'll work on a few things, and if we can get stuff lined up, we'll obviously let everyone know. Let's spend the last 10 minutes or so. Matt, Dre Greenlaw practiced today. Do you think, is it time, or do you think he's still maybe a week or two away?
I don't think he's going to get a start. I do think he's going to get some reps in, though. I think if he's healthy enough to play, because he did have a full practice today. So if he's healthy enough to play, I think he's going to get some reps in. I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of action. I think they're just going to kind of like, let's wean him into it. Let's see how he does. And then if he does well, he performs well, there's no injuries, he doesn't, the game's over and he's not back in rehab again or physical therapy, then it's like, all right, cool. Next week, now we have the Cowboys. Let's amp up those reps against the Cowboys. And then I think they're going to slowly progress it. But come Sunday, we'll see a Greenlaw sighting, but it's not going to be a start, and it's just going to be a couple reps here and there.
Cowboys next week, huh?
Yeah, we got the Giants on Sunday and then Cowboys next week, which Jeff from JBW Solutions and myself, we will be there, and we are going to be doing a War Room and JBW Solutions gift card giveaway from Fanatics. We will put more details out on that. So thank you again, JBW Solutions, for their support in this.
I expect good things with you in attendance. So we'll break that. Let's get through this weekend first, because this game still does scare me a little bit. I don't look at it as a trap game. I know some people are saying, well, it could be a minor trap game with the Cowboys next week. I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as they still have question marks, because yes, Jackson Dart's 2-1, but there's still some question marks. They're still a young team. They're going on the road to Denver. Yes, I know Cam Skatteboo's Cam Skateboo. There's still parts that if they're on and they're right, I don't like our offense as much matched up with their defense, especially with the slow starts that Denver's been having.
The other thing that concerns me, and Austin and I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday, special teams. The Denver special teams last week was atrocious. I don't know. I don't think the Jets ever had bad field position. They always started close to midfield, or they started in Denver territory, and it was because of a punt. And even the fake punt, everyone saw it coming, and they still couldn't stop it. And the other thing that worries me is, and I talked about it last night, the Broncos are the second worst in kick returns. The Giants are the fourth best kick return team. So this, it's kind of like, an unsung hero of the game, but special teams do matter. And if the Giants can get good field position and they're in a rhythm, this is going to be a close game. This is going to be one of those games that it's going to sneak up on the Broncos, and it's like a winnable game. You lose it. So they have to fire on all cylinders here. Yeah.
Let's do a little Chiefs Raiders. Obviously, there's not much to really preview because the 12.5-point spread obviously is there. I said last night that the Raiders were going to have their cheek spread. That's how big the spread was. You guys are getting Rashee Rice back. He's going to be a full go. It's not like he's coming off an injury. He's coming back from suspension, so he's fresh. He's ready to go. I know there's a lot of trade talks. Obviously, anyone who's traded between now and they're not playing this week if they are, but there's a lot of trade talks going on around the Chiefs. But you're getting Rashee Rice back. Your defense looked really good last week. I just don't think the Raiders are there. And again, that's not a knock on the Raiders. It's just really true. I know.
No, it is a knock on the Raiders. They're just not good.
They're not. But again, they do have Max Crosby, and he is still one of those guys. He is an X factor. He is a guy who can change the outcome of a game. I'm really curious to see more. Jalen Moore held his own. He's still a good tackle because I don't know if Simmons is going to be back, and I think at this point in time, it doesn't matter if he's back. He's obviously has stuff going on that he needs to take care of. And it's the personal stuff. I see fans on social medias today that it's personal, guys. They have, again, they're human. So it doesn't matter. He needs to get his stuff situated. And I think you guys should be very happy with, if he's not able to go, Jalen Moore is going to be able to hold his own I would be curious on Jawan Taylor and Max Crosby because Jawan Taylor's actually looked really good.
3 weeks with no penalties.
That's what I'm saying. So there's a lot that goes into this. If you can neutralize Max Crosby, no issues. If it's Max Crosby who's getting those strip sacks and then all of a sudden they flip the field position, do you trust Geno enough to be able to take the short field and get points out of that?
You know, in some previous years, I do think Max Crosby would be enough to keep games close. I just don't know if the Raiders are there yet. We've seen some games where Max Crosby has dominated this year, and the Raiders still lose by quite a bit. Like, it's unfortunate for him. He's the one Raider player that I'm like, you know, if there was ever a time that I wish a Raider player could have some postseason success or something, that guy deserves it. Like, not only his story, but like just him on the field. But I don't think the Raiders are there this year. Not yet, anyways. I mean, last week was huge, and it's still a rivalry game, so anything can happen. You know, those division games, it really doesn't. You guys play each other so much that, you know, there's nothing you can really get by the other team. But Raiders aren't in a good spot on their offensive line still. Yes, they're coming off a win, but was it really their offense? Like, really? Type deal. So I'd like to think we're a little better than the Titans offensively. Hopefully, maybe. I think it's one of those where I'd be very disappointed if the Chiefs don't actually just handle this pretty well, pretty easily. I know anything can happen in a rivalry game, but it's just where the two teams are. You know, Chiefs are relatively healthy. We're getting someone back, and the Raiders are, they're coming off a win, but they're still a hot mess. They're coming off a win against arguably the worst just team in general in football. So I think the 12.5 point spread, I know you can only go so high, but I still feel like that's kind of generous. I think it's going to be 3 or 4 touchdown difference.
Not in a rivalry. I still think the rivalry still plays a little part of. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout.
The only way it's not is if we rest late in the game like we did against the Ravens.
That's true.
This is a home game.
It is
and you got to remember, AOC beat the Chiefs. They're still a little, you know, like we gotta figure out. We got to give a little, you know, revenge back to them.
Depends on the shoulder pads they're wearing.
Yeah,
for real. But I think this is one of those where, you know what Cody always says, the Chiefs formula is get up big and then kind of coast. I think we're going to get up big. You know, we're going to get up 28-7, 31-10 or something. And we will kind of just coast. And I think even us coasting can kind of keep or grow the lead against the Raiders. So I think the game plan is to actually whoop up on them so bad and so quick that we actually get some Gardner Minshew reps to let him have his revenge game type deal. So it's unfortunate. I hope it is a good rivalry game, but in the end of the day, like, these teams are what they are. It's in Arrowhead. They're trending different ways, and it should just be ugly, honestly.
Yeah, and you look at this too. You know, kind of mentioned it yesterday. The only really consistent thing the Raiders have in their offense right now is their run game, and it's not, you know, it's average at best. And look what the Chiefs did against the Lions, who have a much better offensive line, a much better running backs, and they held the Lions to just 98 total yards in rushing. So, I mean, like, if they have a game like they did against the Lions in terms of the ground, and they can force Geno just to play one-dimensional, I mean, the only thing getting trapped is Geno Smith in the pocket, and he's going to get sacked. Sorry, Cody.
I will say the one hope for the Raiders is if somehow Geno finds 2 years ago Geno and actually comes out and plays like the contract he signed, then that game could be interesting. Because we've said, you know, Raiders have decent weapons, right? It just comes down to the offensive line, and Geno hasn't been performing. Mm-hmm. If Geno has a nice, clean game and earns a portion of the contract he signed, it could be a decent game. But I mean, you're asking a lot at this one. I mean, the dude has 100 turnovers already this year. So
honestly, I want this for Cody. Can you imagine next week
Yeah, I'll be.
He gets to wear the Victory Monday shirt twice in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, I'll be magically missing an episode too.
It could be very interesting because obviously we know obviously the Chiefs Chargers played and the Chargers got the best of them there, and then obviously the Chiefs Broncos haven't played yet. So
yeah, but that's at least a good team you'd lose to.
Yeah. hey, none of this.
Who's this?
Whoa.
Hey,
It must be one of those Raider grandmas.
Yeah. Imagine if Gino actually has a good game against the Chiefs. Well, I think now you're asking a little too much. I do think I think he's going to have the turnovers in the bad spots, right? And nothing kills a drive quicker than Geno Smith turning the ball over. And these are bad interceptions. These are not like he just has not been anywhere near. It looks like Brock Bowers is not playing again. Jacoby Myers, speculation of trade talks. There's a ton of interest. Patriots, Giants are even talking teams for receivers. So all of a sudden the Giants are they're buying that's weird to me. But again, when you have a coach who's very desperate and needs some dubs stacked so he doesn't get canned, you're obviously going to be looking for trade partners for some weird reason. But Absolutely. The Raiders, there is a formula for the Raiders to win this game. I just don't know if they have the quarterback that would meet this formula to win.
I feel like their formula is hope the Chiefs beat themselves. Hope that the Chiefs beat themselves like they did against Jacksonville. That, crucial pick six, terrible special teams, and then they're able to take a little bit advantage of that. I feel like that's the only formula Raiders have to winning.
Well, they have this formula as well. Like I said, Max Crosby is that little brother who just annoys the shit out of everyone, and he especially loves to annoy Pat Mahomes. And you talked about it in that Netflix series Quarterback, hitting me, giving me a little hit on the shoulder, like the play is done, and he'll nudge me or push me and just kind of get under his skin. And sometimes you see Pat get so annoyed he makes mistakes he normally doesn't make because he's just annoyed. Or you see Pat get mad, and now he's now you're 4 touchdowns up, and Pat just ran another one in. That's a second rushing touchdown of the game. So it really depends. That's another point to just annoy them until they're not themselves. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Pat's locked in. Pat
Mahomes is here all night.
Yeah, I don't know. He's locked in right now, and I'm trying to think the last time he's had his entire receiving corps together healthy. What has he done against the Raiders when that's happened? And I imagine it's that with 43 to 20 game or whatever they had. So, I mean, yes, there's always a formula. We say it all the time, any given Sunday in the NFL. But this would be an incredible upset if the Raiders win. Let's just be honest about that. It should be hard for the Raiders to win. So,
I mean, there is a perfect world where Ashton Jeanty does actually help win this game for the Raiders. Now you're asking a lot out of your offensive line who's already struggling. But again, Chiefs defense is starting to click again. If Chris Jones plays how he played against the Lions,
Geno's done.
Then Geno's done. Yeah, then I think that disrupts your run game. Leo Chenal probably had his better games as a Chief against the Lions. George obviously had the tough matchups going up against Sewell and the tackles there. There's no Penei Sewell level players on the Raiders offensive line. So George looked good, high motor guy no matter what. He was flying around. Leo Chenal flying around. Noel Williams did outstanding. McDuffie's going to do, what he's doing. I thought Brian Cook looked really good in the run game, right? You'd see him flying through. There was a couple big tackles for no gain or loss just based on what Brian Cook was able to do. So if those guys start clicking and Spag starts getting confidence back into those guys, look out. And again, I made a comment earlier this week on X about the whole narrative of are the Chiefs back is just crazy to me because it's not like the Chiefs really left. Okay, the season's still young. And it cracks me up that the Chiefs did start slow. They weren't winning the games that typically they do win. But there was never any doubt that the Chiefs were done, right? He said it. I've seen other people say they just needed to stay as close to 500 as possible to get Rashee Rice back, get some guys healthy, weather the storm. I get it. The schedule's not always going to be in their favor as far as what they have, but
yeah, I think we didn't take the route we thought.
Yeah, it was a different
We
route.
lost to the Jags and then beat the Lions. I think most people assumed those were going to be flip-flopped. But yeah, I mean, we just needed to weather the storm. If we were sitting here 0-6 right now,
it would be awesome.
It would be a different vibe going on. But we weathered the storm. We maybe didn't take the path that was expected, but thankfully, after 6 weeks, our division's back to, well, unfortunately, a 3-team race. Raiders have kind of just already given up, lost hope, but it's turning into that competition we thought it was going to be with the Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs. So I'm excited. Our division looks like it's going to be as competitive as we thought. Unfortunately, the Chargers, they're trying to limp their way as long as they can until they can start getting pieces back. But, Denver's defense is doing what Denver's defense thought we were going to see. It's going to be an awesome second half of the season for 3/4 of the AFC West.
Yeah. And an interesting stat that Zach Stevens posted about another pass rusher for the Broncos talking about their defense, Jonathan Cooper. So he has 28. Yep, player of the week. But also he's got 28 career sacks, and that is the most from a 7th-round linebacker since the NFL went to 7 rounds. So, I mean, congratulations to Coop. He's actually my favorite current Bronco. Congratulations to him. Well-deserved. And, again, like him and Benito, best pass rush duo in the league for a reason,
Yeah. And Nick Benito is my current favorite player as far as defensive players go, and it hurts me to say that because he's from OU.
And mine is Zach Allen. So look at us forming that front right there.
And
united.
And it's funny because this offseason, Matt, you and I had a text going back and forth with each other about who to pay, who to do, this and this and this. You wanted Zach Allen, I wanted Nick Benito. In the end, we both got what we wanted. I mean, obviously Zach Allen first, and then Nick Benito. And then my brother was asking during the game, they're like, Coop, did you guys already pay Coop? We did. We got Coop taken care of last year. So these guys are here. They're here
for a while.
They're here for a while. So we have that. We have that core on defense. We have Patty Surtain,
Riley Moss.
Hey, I will say Riley's been okay.
He stepped up.
And I don't think I mentioned it last night, and I'm upset. Can we say the most underappreciated or undervalued signing in the offseason was Hufanga?
I can't say that because Matt and I were both excited about this signing. We knew we needed that safety. We knew we needed, and we knew the kind of player he was. It was, could he stay healthy? And so far, yes.
I still don't think it's getting the amount of love and recognition that it should, though, right? Like, that might be one of the best offseason additions in the league.
And I still want to sit here and petition. Justin Simmons should be signed. Justin Simmons should be on the team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's funny. I will be the first to admit, when we first got Justin Simmons, I was not a fan of him at all. And I was like, I feel like he's overrated. I was like, he's always out of position. But then as his career went on, and he just got better and better and better. And just in an upward spiral. And like, okay, yep, now I'm a believer in Justin Simmons. And like, I was sad to see him go. I get why they did it, but I was sad to see him go. As far as Hufanga goes and Dez, if you guys go check out her page, Broncos for Dummies, she talks about him all the time. And one of the things she put in her story is like, where would we be without Talanoa Hufanga? Because that man is leading the Broncos in tackles right now. And he's the one that broke up that, and granted the throw is late, but that final drive, he broke up that pass to Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
Where would we be without Hufanga?
That's what I'm saying. And I don't think it's probably because it's not a quarterback or a receiver or a pass rusher per se, but I got to think right now that's probably the best off-season addition through week 6?
Yep.
Yeah, through week 6. Like, a safety is just as important as all these other positions, especially when you're making the plays that he's making. Like, watch the Jets game. Was there ever a defensive big play that was made that he wasn't a part of? I mean, he was getting sacks. He was a bunch of tackles. He was breaking up that pass. Like, the dude was everywhere.
And it allows Vance Joseph to run his defense how he wants, right? Now you have a safety who you can put down in the box when needed for the run game, which we absolutely need that. I'd still like to see him maybe fake that out and cover the flats a little more with the running backs. But it's made Brandon Jones' life a lot easier compared to what we had last year when Brandon Jones was good. We just didn't have that complementary safety back there with him like we do now. And yes, he leads our team in tackles, but it's not because it's not because the defense is allowing the big plays, right? It's because he's down in the line. He's getting those tackles for loss. He's getting the run stops. I've been nothing but impressed with him. I hope he stays healthy, and I really need Dre Greenlaw to be healthy too, because now a great defense is going to get better. And I know that's crazy, and it still kind of baffles me to think of we can get way better with Dre Greenlaw if he's playing at the level that he was playing at before he got hurt. Matt, I do want to take the last couple minutes here. You sent a text today that, man, it gave me goosies because I knew it was the Giants game, but I didn't realize it was this quick. It's well earned for Broncos country. Demaryius Thomas is going to be inducted into the Broncos Ring of Fame. I'm still speechless about it because he was my favorite player on the Broncos when we were able to draft him. At the time, I was kind of like, we had Des Bryant right there. What are we doing? But in the end, it panned out and it played out. Outside of Rod Smith, Rod Smith will always be at the top for me as far as receivers go. But Demaryius is right there with Rod Smith. So, Matt, I want to get your thoughts on Demaryius.
I mean, I was definitely excited to have Demaryius, just because, like, I remember watching his highlights at Georgia Tech and like the plays that he was making and how he adjusted to the ball, and like he was one of the few, at a time where Brendan Marshall, his future with Denver was pretty much done, and Denver didn't really have any like receiver. Brendan Lloyd, like he did what he could, but like there was nobody really like big enough to go up and fight for the ball. And Thomas, just the plays that he was making, and at one point I don't remember who said it. It was on ESPN. I don't remember who had said it, but it was like the Lions have Megatron, the Broncos have Optimus Prime, and he was referring to DT. And the play, and I love this for him because it was Tebow Mania, and it was a huge win because Denver was supposed to lose this game. Yep. Tebow to DT will live rent-free in Pittsburgh's head for years to come. And I still watch that highlight. I still get goosebumps about it. This is, like you said, well-deserved. I feel like he's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday as well. I mean, almost 10,000 yards with this franchise. My favorite receiver will always be Rod Smith. And, there's nothing that's going to change my mind. But Thomas was up there.
Yeah.
Hard to cover. Everyone loved him. He was respected. He's such a humble guy, too. Like, every interview that anyone did with him, he's such a humble guy. Great guy and well-deserved. And it still gives me goosebumps to think about it.
Yeah, and it sucks that he's not going to be able to be there, obviously. But I know Broncos country, they love DT. His former teammates loved him. Tyler Columbus always talked about Demaryius holding his kid on the plane on the flight home after the Super Bowl and just didn't care in the world. It was he treated his son with respect like it was his own. So I'm very excited to see how the Broncos do this tribute. I know it's going to get Broncos country fired up. I have my little plaque right here, my Demaryius Thomas plaque.
I got the autographed helmet. One of those is his autographed helmet. So
yeah, so this is absolutely a Demaryius Thomas household. It's crazy to think that it's happening, but and it sucks for the circumstances, obviously, for that. But I know that all the former Broncos are going to be there for this. It's going to juice up the atmosphere just a little bit more. And yeah, we have a play that we get to live rent-free in someone's head because it's always going to be there. It's one of Tim Tebow's probably only great throw in the NFL that he hit in stride. So it's just lucky.
Tebow.
I mean, find me another pass that Tim Tebow made that was better than that one.
I'll show you all the wins he would got for a bad team.
Yeah. It's
And
20% completion percentage says otherwise.
Wins are all that
And-
matter, baby.
I was going to say TJ Ward's profile picture on Instagram is Demarius Thomas. So
Yeah, I know TJ was a huge piece of that team and that defense with Keeb, Chris Harris, all those guys. But, you know, that was when we had complementary football, right? Like the defense was there, but we also had Peyton and the offense flying around. I'd still love to try to get TJ on here. I know we've had conversations back and forth. Times just don't usually work out sometimes. And I know he does his own show as well. So still love to get TJ on here and talk to him about those teams. And I know he'll be stoked to be at Denver and Mile High, getting to be a part of those ceremonies for Demarius this weekend. So Broncos country, those of you that are going to be at the game, we know you guys understand the assignment and what you guys will do. Do you guys have anything else here before we kind of wrap it up for the week?
No,
Just thanks again, Kawika Mitchell, joining the show. It was awesome to have him on. If you guys missed it, please make sure you go check out the episode. It was great. It was a great experience to get to talk to him.
Like and subscribe. Hit the like and subscribe right now. Get that. I believe my brother posted the possible potential Christmas giveaway. The signed Mike Ditka. Absolutely just big ass thing just back over here in the corner. That thing's like the size of our window right here. It's massive. We're really excited to be able to give that to a lucky person who subscribes and follows the instructions on tagging people and doing what they're supposed to do. We were obviously down a comrade tonight. Cody, hope everything's well. And you're getting your family taken care of. Again, sometimes it's bigger than doing a show, so we understood the magnitude. So Cody, obviously, hopefully will be back with us next week. Guys, let's enjoy some football. Enjoy your golf trip. Austin's be taking a trip to Kansas City this weekend to do some golfing.
I see go Boomer, so we just obviously want to say go Longhorns.
Oh yeah, go Longhorns. That was a beautiful game.
Yeah, hook 'em horns.
Yeah, that was a great game to watch. Actually, it was entertaining to me. I can't speak for everybody, but hook 'em. I can't say much because KU shit down their leg again.
That's all right.
But
We know we suck.
That's what we do. So again, thanks to everybody. Hey, watch your finger, okay? Let's
Watch your finger.
keep it clean over there. So again, like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to Kawika Mitchell who joined us. Thanks to Coach Ramil who was on the show Friday. Guys, again, we're super excited for next week. We're gonna have a breakdown again. We're looking forward to the big matchups. Enjoy your golf trip, Matt. Enjoy some family time, and let's get the list of sponsors out of the way. So, Badger Barrel, thank you again for the grills. I will try to use mine this weekend. Hopefully the rain holds off. Matt, hit him with the saying.
In a world of butterflies, be a Badger.
Perfect. My brother's going to be repping his Shankit golf material this weekend, his golf bag, his shirts, his hats. So make sure you guys check out their website. They sent him another free bag, wildly enough. Beard Club. I believe my brother is still using their stuff and getting his beard going. And then let's go to our one of our favorite sponsors, Angie. We love you. Thank you again to Emporia State Federal Credit Union, our banking of choice for a long time. So Angie and her team at Emporia State Federal Credit Union know how to take care of us and the state of Kansas and the Emporia area, federally insured by the NCUA. And our big one, you're in the JVW Solutions studio right now. Jeff and his guys, I love seeing all their posts. It looks like Jeff and his team are doing outstanding things right now. They're growing. They're doing their thing. Jeff, again, we can't thank you enough. I don't think we'll ever have enough words to say to what you mean to our show. And your disappointing son is still friends with us. So again, Jeff and his
Makes all those
team,
nights makes all those nights doing homework at the dinner table worth it.
There you go. So again, JVW Solutions, we are in the JVW Solutions studio, veteran-owned, community-driven, safety-focused. Jeff and his guys, they know how to take care of us here in the war room. They will continue to support us. Go support them. Check out their website. Again, they've been posting a lot of new information and a lot of stuff. They're expanding. I saw that they had something in Mississippi. Matt, do you have anything else on that one?
Not too much. I'm sure my mom's going to fill me in on details, but also just so you guys know, they do CPR training as well. So they offer a whole lot of safety training. If you're trying to get CPR certified, JVW Solutions can help you out with that.
All right, boys. Well, let's enjoy the rest of the week. We have a shitty football game tomorrow night, unfortunately.
I saw it called as the what's that old cream that old people use?
Bengay.
Yeah, I saw it was the Bengay Bowl because it's Flacco and Rogers.
Yeah, it is Flacco and Rogers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's Flacco and Rogers. Oh man.
Yeah, I saw people calling it the Bengay Bowl.
All right. Well, don't let the Thursday night game deter you from you. There's some good games this weekend, so make sure you guys are ready. There's a good college lineup as well. So, guys, we'll talk to you guys next week. Therefore, we are out, and enjoy the rest of your night.